Good morning, y'all. Good morning, and welcome back to Alicia's Crafty Hoplop. It is Wednesday morning, and as y'all know, it's art day. It's art and craft day. Oh, yes, it is. And I look forward to this each and every week. But I have a bit of a late start today. We have a lot of administration to take care of. My school did decide to close down and to protect all of its faculty and staff and students. So we are going to be taking an extra week-long break. And I'm really proud of my school because they're also taking measures to offer online education. Some of us, I'm certified for online teaching. Some of us who have been trained for that and can actually provide a college and university level education online will be on hand to help out if we need to transition to online classes. But I'm super proud of my school for being responsible and doing the right thing. So all of us will be better protected. But it does mean we had a lot of administration to take care of, a lot of communication with students. And as y'all know, I was supposed to be going to Florida on Friday, right? It's the bestie's big birthday. And this is my best friend of more than 30 years, y'all. And I would miss this birthday for anything. I miss my bestie. I really do. When I spent that time in Canada in the fall because my mom was sick, I got to spend a lot of time with my bestie, who I miss all the time. So I have been looking so forward to this time with her. And it's heartbreaking. But the new reports coming out show that everyone pretty much who's contracted this virus has done so through an airport, an airplane, or a port of entry. Like in Florida, the Broward County cases came out of the cruise ports. So they're suggesting, never mind people with immunity problems, they're just suggesting people steer clear of airports if they can, or any mode of transportation like a bus station or any of those public places where you have to put your hand on rests, like side rests. Now, I will say that the airline I had booked with wrote me a very long email that they've taken a lot of precautions. They've done their best to disinfect. But I understand from my doctor, unless you're using a certain rate of disinfectant, it won't be enough. And you'll accidentally touch your face or something. The other thing she's telling me is that they don't really know how long it's going to last on things. Like they don't know how long it's going to last on an object. At first they thought, well, it can't last longer than this. Now they're less sure. And the worst piece of news that came out of the report yesterday, and I read this myself, is that if you're within 6 feet of somebody who has it, you're susceptible to getting it. 6 feet, folks. So on an airplane, you're close to a whole bunch of people. So subways are not a good idea. So this girl will not be going into the city. No subways. Pat, limit your bus runs. I'm serious. I know you have to take 2 buses to get to a post office. I know you need to get 2 buses in order to go get a lot of your groceries. Sweetie, you need to limit the amount of times you go on that bus. Just because right now, we're not sure how well these things are being cleaned. And like me, you're living with an autoimmune disease that makes you very susceptible. But on a more positive note, I think I'm going to try to look at this like a mini staycation. So y'all know I only have like 2 days a week to make art. And that's Wednesdays, which is today, and Saturdays. And often I use a lot of that for crafty administration, things like organizing and so forth. Once we get everything organized for school and that administration goes down a little, that means I'll have a little bit more time throughout the week to do crafting. And I'm going to look at that like Heather's staycation. So I'm thinking about that and making plans. And that's going to help also in terms of getting caught up on a lot of projects. So I am looking forward to that. Folks, we have a lot of people in our midst right now who are going through a very difficult health time. And I'm just wondering if you could take a minute to send some well wishes. Maybe you could even make a card. Many of you are great card makers. So Miss Deb Hendricks spent the night in the hospital, y'all. Not a very comfortable place to be. She is also living, I don't want to, speak out of turn. I'll let Deb share her own experience with you. But certainly she's gone through a painful period and would certainly appreciate a note, a hello, a check-in today, I'm sure, and over the next few days. Carrie has gone in for a procedure, y'all, and so please keep Carrie in your prayers. Please keep her in your thoughts. If you're a well-wisher like this one, please make sure you're sending out lots of well wishes for Carrie. I want an easy and quick recovery for her. And P and Jellybean, like myself, live with something very chronic. And folks, it's tough every day. We don't talk much about it in the sense of what it really is like to live with something that's chronic. And I think that's just because we're buoyant people. And so we don't want to come on here and be like, dang, it's tough. But there are weeks where it's really tough. And I know a lot of you noticed that Jelly Bean was absent for a lot of this week, which you all know was very unusual for Jelly Bean. Jelly Bean is a very active member of our community and our crafty family. It's been a tough week, folks. She is coming out the other side of it, but it's been tough. So if you make cards, if you do, I bet you she'd really appreciate getting one, and I bet you Pete would too. And nothing helps like a get well card after a surgery, folks. So if y'all are interested in making Carrie Martin a card, I'd be happy to coordinate that with you. I think these are people in our crafty family who could use our support right now. So again, it's Deb Hendrick, Carrie Martin, Whimsical Endeavors, and Jelly Bean Junction. So please either reach out to them, create a card for them, find a way to lend them a little support. There are many of us in our crafty community who live with different issues, and those that don't have been so wonderful about asking each of us, like, hey, what's that like to live with? Or how does that affect you daily? And I'm so pleased that you're interested to know, and I think you've done a great public service, not just for our YouTube community, but in general, raising your awareness about people living with chronic issues, be it diabetes, be it something like scleroderma, be it, a completely disintegrated, degenerated back, be it such bad arthritis that you have to be hospitalized. I think it's wonderful that you want to gain a better understanding, because with that comes greater empathy. And that just makes for a better world, folks. It really does. So thank you to those of you who don't live with these issues and who've asked some questions privately of each of us. I want to say how much I appreciate that. And I love your effort at trying to raise your awareness of what it's like to live with these issues. Recently, or not so recently, in the last few months, a crafter came on here and was like, wait, what's this channel about? Is it about crafting? Is it about autoimmune? Is it about self-care? What's it about? And I was laughing. I totally was not offended by that question. I thought it was a great question. And I thought, well, no, we do a lot of project shares. We sure do a lot of crafting on this channel. This has been a week of show and tell, and you're going to get a whole lot more of it this week, because I got tons of stuff to share with you. I just need some time to make the videos. I warned you, it's clean creating week, folks. Oh, yes. But if we get through it all, then this weekend it'll be back to Hoplop. But it's also a place where, thankfully, we feel comfortable enough to share what we also deal with, and we help one another. Over the last 8 months, there's been some amazing relationships developed here. It all started with like Kayla and Zuli and Carrie, Kayla and Zuli being really supportive of Pat and her journey with MS. Well, folks, you know what? This has really morphed into just a super supportive community. I cannot tell you how many people contacted me when I was recently in the hospital. I can't tell you how many of us are rooting for Carrie. What's happened here, and I think it's just a natural form of human nature and friendship, is that we've gotten to know each other real well over the last year. And so everyone wants to make sure everyone is okay. And I think that's wonderful. And what's really interesting is that I've shared that, outside of my bestie who knows everything, and my neighbors know tons too, right? And now I found out, hi Tabitha, hi Tyler, hi Marlies, hi Tristan. So my neighbors upstairs have been watching the channel, which I think is so great. And I was actually really pleased. They shared that with me yesterday. And I was like, really? That's so amazing. Because I love that family. So I was like really excited. But Maya Elise, you've been missing Cupcake Mondays. I'm just going to say that online. Sorry, that was just a really friendly shout out. But I'm lucky to have these amazing neighbors. I told y'all, like 2 of them did like this mini intervention this week where they wanted to talk to me about the virus, and they think I've lost too much weight. And I'm very blessed to live in a building that's like a family. And I don't think I could be any luckier. And I tell you that all the time. But I do think that not everybody lives in a building like this. So we are very lucky to have one another. Many people live isolated outside of the city zone. They live outside in a rural area where their closest neighbor is like a 10-minute drive. So we're it for check-ins, folks. So how amazing is it that over the last year, naturally, these relationships have formed? And I just think we're really fortunate. And I'm also really proud of those of you who came on and were like, yeah, I live with this too. Because you made it possible for other people who also live with certain things to reach out to you. So thank you for all that. But we are makers first, that's for sure. I think many of us deal with our challenges by being creative people, and we spend a lot of our waking hours making and innovating and coming up with all sorts of new ways to use dyes, all sorts of new ways to use all sorts of materiality. And if you're a jelly bean or a Susan Tootsie Tucker, well, you'll use, like, I don't know, grass to make butterflies. So we're really makers first. We're just makers who live with some challenges. And not everybody, just some. But those of you that don't have just been really kind and supportive. And on behalf of everybody here, thank you for that. Well, y'all, I have a busy day today because I do need to go to the post office, and because I need to get something out, and I have some administration to do for school. But then the rest of the day will be doing, I told you I'm still working on some crafty reorg. Oh yes, I pulled stuff out. I got a lot to do. I have to do some disinfecting because of this virus, and then I'm going to do some making. And hopefully later on today I'll be back on with some Happy Meal and maybe a project share or two. I hope whatever you're doing today, I hope it's something that really makes you joyful. Please remain aware, regardless of where you live, that hand washing right now is very important. Using hand disinfectant is very important. And don't shake anyone's hand. I know it's rude. We worked out a system here in Brooklyn where we do an elbow bump because it's just safer. And if you're doing a lot of elbow bumping, wash your coat, please. All right, y'all? All right, I'll be back on later today. I can't wait to see what you're up to. I'll see you soon, folks. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday, y'all.